What's up? Thank you so much. The USDA hemp rule was blowing up, and so I decided to do another one of these because if you haven't watched that one, you should. And at the end of it, I said, well, what happened to the wall-in processing hemp extract? I've abbreviated that as WIPHE, and that's what we're going to be discussing on today's live episode of... Thanks so much for dropping in. My name is Tom. I'm a lawyer with the Collateral Base, and if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, you can. And you can just find Cannabis Industry Lawyer on IG and follow me there. Today, we are going to be discussing more about the USDA Final Hemp Rule. We did a USDA Final Hemp Rule video last week. It was quite popular, and so was our Delta-8 THC and its legality and the vape cartridge ban that arose from the omnibus bill that Donald Trump signed a couple of days after Christmas. So until March 27th, you can buy vapes and products in the mail. After that, you're probably not going to see them. So today we're going to discuss the wall-in processing hemp extract, because as you know, the USDA's rule did an excellent job of saying that you can have up to a 1% total THC amount. And then that would keep you from being negligent. If you test that, you may now remediate it. And so you can add it to other hemp biomass and chip it together so that that total plant tests a THCA compliant of the 0.3%. And then that biomass, where's biomass get earmarked for? It's not premiumable smokable flower. No, it's not going to become Delta-8 moon rocks. It will become... an extract, a CBD extract. It's going to be thrown into an extractor. So if you are tuning in and you have hemp extraction, give yourself a thumbs up and click subscribe, because on Wednesdays and Sundays, we do cannabis legalization news. Yesterday, I believe, we had a great show with nano emulsions. We have our Wednesday, that's our business show. And then on Sundays, we have activism. So we're going to try to get some more of the people that were pardoned by President Trump on his way out to discuss about why nobody should be arrested for cannabis. Let's get back to how the Agricultural Marketing Service, which the USDA Final Rules abbreviates as AMS, how they addressed and approached the wall-in processing hemp extract conundrum. Because if now you're able to remediate this hemp and turn it into biomass, it's going to the extractor. The extractor is going to have ethanol or probably ethanol with the volume that they're at. And that is going to create a winterized crude eventually. And that crude is not going to be THC compliant. In the sense that as you strip out the biomass and the moisture that's in there, you concentrate the percentages of THC. And so a terrible IFR, that's an interim final rule, came out by the DEA last August, and that kind of casted dispersions regarding the legality of hemp extraction, which of course is ridiculous. And then I was hoping that we would have something in the final rule to discuss about that, and we kind of do. If you dig to the final rule down to page 181, and then you zoom in, because you're trying to make sure that people that are reading this at home can follow along. Let's see here. The AMS response to the 2018 Farm Bill directed the USDA to establish a national regulatory framework for hemp production in the U.S., and the final rule outlines provisions for this mandate. The IFR and this final rule do not cover hemp or its products beyond production, period. Further, DEA has issued regulation covering some of these products or in-process materials. And then they footnote down here, oops, I have already queued this up and I've zoomed in much better on it. They override. That is bad coding on the policy of the department there, because now when I click back, it's going to go all the way back to page 1. This is what it clicks out to. I have to hit forward. It's terrible. And this is the DEA publication that came out, like I was mentioning earlier, August in 2020. And that DEA publication then discusses how they're supposed to be treating this hemp extract. And I had it queued up before. I screwed that up. Extract. There you go. It does appear 22 times. And they kind of punt on this as well. And they point over to the FDA. And that FDA regulations that should be coming out into the future And then they link out to the FDA. Here it is. This is the one that I was looking for. This interim final rule amends the definition of marijuana extract. And then they get into it. This revised definition now includes the 0.3% THC limit for the extract, meaning hemp-derived extracts containing less than 0.3 THC are also decontrolled along with the plant itself. As discussed previously, production of the hemp and its extracts defined under the AIA now falls under the same regulatory authority and shared between the states, tribal territories, and the USDA. Now, look, that's a little interesting because it says extracts right there. And then in the final rule, the USDA actually punted on that issue because they said, oh, the DEA has the information. They linked to this page. And then and they also made this fleeting thing that the FDA also has some. So the FDA also has regulatory oversight over these compounds. And then they link out on that to this FDA thing, which is from the last administration. So that's going to be interesting because this one's from December of 2018 by Scott Gottlieb, who was the acting administrator, I believe, of the DEA. And it basically says that it's illegal to advertise them in a dishonest way, like you can't make any specific benefits and any specific treatments. But people already knew that. And then it also says that there is no generally regarded as safe for CBD yet. Both of them contemplate this other thing that's going to be by the FDA. So no, there's no new answers on the wall in processing hemp extract. And not only is there new answers, there's a punting, and then that punting has a link to a DEA article, which is then another punting. And they also then ensnare the FDA, which still hasn't published its rules. And now there's been a changing of the guard at the FDA, so who knows how long this is going to take. The important thing is that nobody who's currently processing hemp, I think, recently, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, has gotten anything shut down from the DEA yet. I haven't heard of any, and I'm pretty sure if it happened, somebody would tell me. Pretty darn sure. Okay, so there's a few other things in the new USDA Final Rule for hemp production that we should mention prior to wrapping this one up as well. And that has to do with the amount of testing that they're doing. And so now they had a DEA requirement, which is still there, but that DEA requirement is effectively being continued until 2023 to allow the DEA to get its affairs in order to have enough registered labs. And that 30-day, there used to be a 15-day harvest window, and that was changed, and now it's going to be a 30-day harvest window. But that, again, that doesn't come into play until the DEA is then going to be testing on that, and that doesn't appear to be a case until 2023. So however your state is currently testing the hemp will continue to be how your state will continue to test the hemp for 2021, 2022, and then I believe there might be some movement on this, or at least there would be a new farm bill, or Senator Rand Paul's 1% THC may have passed the Senate, and we all hope that it does. Other than that, there was some very interesting, which I didn't really understand much, testing flexibility that they reported on. And so, like, what does that 0.3% mean? And how should it be tested to determine if it is compliant or not? Like, should you test the most strong part of the issue, the material by the dry weight, or should you test everything? It was pretty interesting. All in all, the USDA's final rule on hemp is an improvement, but it still has this gray area about that wall in processing hemp and how CBD is going to be regulated by the FDA. The DEA clearly has no authority when it comes to the production of the hemp. The problem with the DEA's interim final rule that came out in August 20th of 2020 is right here. And it says, as a result, a cannabis derivative, extract, or product that exceeds 0.3% Delta 9 THC is a Schedule 1 controlled substance, even if the plant it was derived from was hemp, 0.3 Delta 9 on a THC on a dry weight basis. And so that's essentially kind of directed maybe at the wall in processing hemp extract issue, where you're processing it and it goes over that. Now we can make the argument that that's not fair to test it. You tested it when it was harvested. The DEA has now been satisfied it's compliant hemp. Like, you knew that compliant hemp went in. you have no basis to think that anything would be wrong. And then, of course, you could also argue that it's not done yet. And then that would be that that argument that was like, how do you test this substance? And so they were talking about, like, you could kind of do these flexibility type tests. And so if you're testing a winterized crude, that's not a product. It's not. Like, nobody's unless there's people that are out there retailing winterized crude, and there might be. It's not fair to test it at that particular juncture. We still don't have that information. Anyway, hopefully you guys are enjoying these, and thank you so much for tuning in and watching all this stuff. You enjoy the hemp industry or the cannabis industry, and you're looking to get into the cannabis industry, go over to cannabisindustrylawyer.com and sign up for our newsletter, or you can click any one of the Get Started pages if you'd like to talk to me about your business, and I will see you on Wednesdays and Sundays, or when it is.